Breaking inputs coming in on the broadcast at the moment. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has arrived in Pakistan for key diplomatic talks as Islamabad continues efforts to mediate in the ongoing crisis. Iranian media says Araghchi will convey Tehran's position and discuss a possible framework for a broader understanding to end the conflict. Now, this visit comes at a crucial time with negotiations still uncertain and regional tensions running high. Let's go across to Mayank. He's getting us more details. So now, we're given to understand that Mr. Abbas Araghchi is going to convey the broader terms, the discussion, the diplomatic talks that could take shape to resolve the ongoing crisis.
Yeah, that's right. And it's an important news which is coming in the way that things had been happening since almost 15-20 days, and in fact post the extension of the ceasefire, which was supposed to end on 22nd April. Now, what is important is actually, diplomacy or diplomatic moves don't take place in public. But then in this case, what we see is actually it's not a diplomatic move. These are positionings and pressure points which are being used in public so as to get the maximum out from the other side. What I mean to say is actually it is the US which said that they won't be sending their envoys, which were Witkoff and Gerard, in the case because they did not find anything substantive to talk about. That was only to say that whatever framework which was sent by Iran at that time was not agreeable to them. Now what you see, Iran is back because one day back it was, the team, one day prior to today, actually, they had left back for Iran for consultations, only to find out what kind of further conditions can be given or mooted for discussions. Now, what it means is actually middle ground can only be found when both sides have a unanimity. But then that unanimity will require the kind of agreements which meet the requirements extended from Iran side and from US side both. In this case, what I mean to say is actually most important demands are two, which is unfettered allowing all kind of movement towards Strait of Hormuz, is what US has been projecting. But then even bigger is the enrichment of the uranium fissile material. So the talks had been set or had been hindered on that point only.
Right. Now, Mayank, as we speak, we have more breaking inputs coming in. Just stay on with us. So we are also given to understand that Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has held talks with his Saudi counterpart, Faisal bin Farhan, over the phone, focusing on the latest developments in West Asia. The two leaders also discussed the ongoing diplomatic efforts and reviewed ways to address the evolving regional situation. Let's go back to Mayank, who continues to be with us on the broadcast. This is extremely significant, this conversation between Mr. Abbas Araghchi and the Saudi counterpart.
Saudi Arabia has been a very influential voice in this region. And we are talking about Middle East in this case. Because when you talk of Middle East, almost 8 countries come into, they are present there, they are located there. Iran has been, yesterday, Araghchi was in Oman, continuing with discussions. What it only signifies is that they are also now consulting the regional parts so as to bring out, because amidst the entire operation, Iran had been targeting the bases which were set up in these regions only, the US bases which are in these countries only, which included the bases in Saudi Arabia also. So these countries willy-nilly were facing the destruction which was of the missiles which were launched by Iran. So in this case, now he is also, Iran is meeting them, consulting them so as to find out their versions also. Because Iran cannot stretch things to an extent wherein they doesn't have a support of the region. Because now things have come to the extent that US has blockaded every movement as far as Iranian vessels are concerned. And Iran's major trade and commerce takes place through Strait of Hormuz only. It is a larger diplomatic move being made by Iran so as to bring down things to an agreeable position. And then we'll see that as far as details on enrichment of nuclear aspect and other things will come into being. So it is larger consultation on diplomatic issues so as to understand the mood and temperature within the region. Then only Iran will be making its moves on the larger plank.
All right. Mayank, stay on with us. More breaking inputs coming in. We're given to understand that Donald Trump and Starmer have held talks over the escalating situation in the Strait of Hormuz. The two leaders discussed the urgent need to ensure free passage through the crucial shipping lane, flagging concerns over its growing impact on the global economy and energy supplies. And Mayank continues to be with us on the broadcast. Global impact on the global economy, of course, remains a big concern. Now, Keir Starmer speaking to Donald Trump, what additional details are you going to share, Mayank, with us on this?
Interestingly, as far as UK has been in this case, its position has been very clear that they did not take this war as their own war, or rather they were never directly involved into this war. But then as far as diplomatic aspects is concerned, they had been making gestures and movements so that the passage is allowed, actually. So in this case, it is in a way, US is also wanting to understand the minds of the other countries, which includes even France and Germany, because even after appeals from these to these countries, they did not join the war as US wanted them. So it is now moves from the US side to understand the kind of thinking which is going on in these countries, in these capitals, so that, and then only they'll be able to make any other move which includes the military moves. Because US has been time and again repeating that they'll launch operations. And there are reports that carrier battle groups have been moving into that area only, which is US capital ships, US warships. They have been coming to that side only. So whether it will ultimately lead to a military operation, hardcore operations, or diplomatic moves which are, or gestures which are coming out, they'll be able to boil down to some kind of agreement. That has yet to be seen. So these two separate developments, which I mean to say, is that Iran talking to Oman, Iran talking to Saudi Arabia, and US talking to Keir Starmer, which is UK, they can be also clubbed together. That now the temperatures at the international plank are being observed so that both sides can make their move. And uranium enrichment will be the key factor on which the talks will be, whether either, they'll be thrashed on, the deal will be inked, or it will break, and then finally whatever happens, and that also could lead to military operation.
All right, Len, I guess we'll have to wait to see how everything evolves given the current situation. Thank you very much, Mayank, for getting us the details.